Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, a show where you come for the plot and stay for the plot. Every time I hear about this show, just one thing comes to my mind. Well, at least there's a bunny girl, right? Oh, how wrong I was. I cried more times watching this show than the amount of times an actual bunny girl showed up. She only dresses up like that 2 times, by the way. Now, I'm glad I watched the show, but like, it's in the title, right? Show me the bunny titty! Yeah, so going into it, I didn't have high expectations or anything. I kind of just thought, oh, she's invisible.
That's weird.
So there's some kind of supernatural powers at play, right? Kind of? Every time I think about the occurrences in the show, it gives me an actual aneurysm. So there's an affliction that most of our main characters are going through called puberty syndrome or adolescent syndrome. It's caused by physics? Maybe? I mean, they use physics to explain each thing, but telling me that a day repeats over and over because a girl kicked his butt and that's quantum entanglement, well then the physics argument goes out the window just a bit. The show likes to suggest that every single weird happening is pretty much all in their minds, and none of it is actually there, or at least when it's resolved, it goes away. I think it's better to just shut your brain off and enjoy the dialogue instead of trying to wrap your head around why it's all happening. Alright, so starting all the way from the beginning, Sakuta Asuzugawa is in his school's library. There, he sees a famous actress, Mai Sakurajima, wandering around dressed in a bunny suit. He approaches her and she's surprised that he can see her. She tells him to forget about it and goes on her way. It turns out she's suffering from adolescent syndrome and everyone is losing their ability to perceive her, essentially forgetting she exists. Everyone except Sakuta. The following 3 episodes are actual peak. Not just peak for the show, but in general. Like when a show's got you crying by episode 2, you know it's good. I love the way the characters are able to go into deep, meaningful conversation, the way they can have normal chats without each character going every 10 seconds like they'll fucking die if they don't. It feels like people having normal conversations. Normally I'd be bored by it, but the way the words are used in the show is brilliant. I can tell on the Crunchyroll subs that like half of them are all fucked up or mistranslated, but when the dialogue is on point, it's on point. Even when the show tries to trick us into thinking anything that's happening is scientific in any way, it just does it so well. It keeps me engaged and interested from beginning to end. Now, I could have done with more bunny girls, but I think that's beside the point. So after Sakuta is able to help Mai, which he does by confessing to her in front of the whole school, he now must solve the problems of the rest of the show's rogues gallery. Now, the way they set this up kind of felt like it was going to lead to a harem, but I'm very glad they didn't go that route. When Sakuta meets Tomoe, we find she's the cause of the next event thing. Every day is repeating for her, and Sakuta specifically. So while he thinks he's making progress with Mai, confessing to her and her agreeing to start dating him, well, that day repeats itself. Tomoe keeps rolling the dice, so to speak, on each day because she doesn't want Meizawa, a boy her friend has a crush on, to keep asking her out. To get him away from her, he pretends to be her boyfriend, much to Mai's dismay. Yep, the only thing that made the days keep moving was for Meizawa and Mai to catch Tomoe on top of Sakuta. In true, it's not what you think fashion that literally every anime ever on this planet has done. So now, whenever a day repeats, they just have to try and complete it perfectly. Wait. It's just Groundhog Day. Eventually, it's revealed that they're not really repeating every day, it's just that they're predicting the future? Or sorry, predicting how every single atom is moving and its ultimate trajectory. So Mai didn't really walk in on them, and things are cleared up once time resumes normally again. While I appreciate that they're applying real-world scientific concepts like Schrodinger's cat and, like, wormholes or some shit, I think I would have been less distracted while watching if they just didn't try to explain it. The thing this show excels at over everything is being impossible to explain any of it to someone who hasn't watched it before. I'm assuming that if you're this far into the video, you've either seen it or don't care about spoilers, so I'm not going to try to unravel every plot detail, instead just briefly mention most of the major beats. After this, Mai kind of takes a back seat story-wise, as she needs to spend a lot of time with her acting career. I think that was a part of the story just because he ends up with her very early on, and maybe they didn't know what to do with her afterwards. Besides her sister, she isn't very involved with other cases of the syndrome, so better to just ship her off somewhere, I guess. Abu Dhabi? That was a Garfield joke. So following the blatant Bill Murray copyright infringement, it's discovered that Sakuta's friend Futaba has been split between 2 personalities and he must figure out how to solve it. One of the Futabas has been posting lewd pictures online to a secret account and the other Futaba wants to put a stop to this. Sakuta gets her to stop and calls over his friend Kunimi, who Futaba has a crush on, to cheer her up. They agree to go to a festival, but the other Futaba finds out and decides to leave the city since there can't be 2 of her. So the original Futaba asks the other Futaba if she can go too, and they're reunited back into the same body. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember the physics explanation for this one. I think the best way to describe the sweet life of Futaba and Futaba is mid. I mean, besides her being a walking encyclopedia on physics-based puberty problems, she doesn't really have much of a character. While this episode was an attempt to try and flesh her out more, it still kind of feels like her personality is science and liking Kunimi. I don't dislike her as a character or anything, it kind of just felt like they spent more time developing Sakuta than they did Futaba. I think the arc that's most interesting besides the first 3 episodes would be Kaede's. Her adolescent syndrome caused the words of other people on social media to cause her literal physical harm. After she's admitted to the hospital, she loses all her memories and refers to herself in the third person, because she doesn't really know who Kaede is, she's just being told that it's her. Her mother loses her mind over the fact that all her daughter's memories are gone, so their father leaves Kaede in Sakuta's hands. For the next 2 years, Kaede pretty much becomes a new person with a new personality and her own memories. She doesn't leave the house as she's afraid to, and she'll pass out if she does. Eventually, she realizes she doesn't have much time left, so she sets up goals for the remainder of the year, ranging from going outside all the way to going back to school. Sakuta helps her work on these goals, and they eventually are able to go outside. He takes her to the zoo to buy food, and one night they stop at the school, granted no one's around. The next time she wakes up, she's regained all her old memories and forgotten her new ones. Sakuta is pissed about this, but not at the same time. Me too! She just wanted to see the pandas, man. Honestly, I think it's kind of fucked up that every girl got some supernatural shit happening to them, and they just straight up gave Kaede a mental illness. I really like this show. It has a very original plot without being super far out there. For the most part, the characters are interesting and you really care about their struggles. While the science aspect was pretty ham-fisted, it not only gives the show a certain kind of charm you don't often find in modern anime, but it's also what makes it so unique. Obviously, there are shows that try the whole science thing to varying degrees of success, but in the end, the show isn't about science. It's not important why it's happening, what you care about is what's happening to the characters and how they're going to deal with it. And for them to deal with it, they often have to grow as people, and that's where the show gets you. This show made me cry exactly 3 times. Once when Mai was about to be forgotten, once when Kaede regained her memories and Sakuta heard her diary entries, and once more when it made me realize how extremely lonely I am. Hey, well, at least no one died. Except for her. And her. And her. Metaphorically, at least. Yes, I have seen the movie. Yes, I cried. A lot. Future video, people. Future video.